I was suddenly kidnapped by my drop-dead gorgeous, psychotically obsessive boss. Even weirder, a flood of comments started scrolling across my vision like a live stream chat. High alert! Heroine's corruption arc at 50%. Are you in, dude? Run. She's got handcuffs and chloroform in her desk drawer. Gigi, it's over. You're getting locked in her basement tonight. That's when I realized my entire life was being live-streamed. My name is Caleb Shaw. I'm a concept artist at a game development studio. My boss is Madeline Hayes. She's a woman who is, for lack of a better word, perfect. She's also the waking nightmare of every single man in the office. Her work ethic is legendary. Her standards are impossibly, inhumanly high. She'll tear you apart without using a single curse word. But her critiques make you want to crawl into a hole and die. I avoid her like the plague. I never could have imagined this. I was working late, crunching until 10 at night. The office was empty except for the two of us. She called me into her office. Caleb, I need these revisions done. I need them by 9 a.m. tomorrow. She handed me a file, her fingers long and pale, her eyes as cold as ice. My scalp tingled. As I took the file, my hand brushed against her fingertips. They were unnervingly cold. I quickly looked down. Right, Ms. Hayes. I'll get it done as soon as possible. I turned to leave, desperate to escape. But she stopped me. Do it here. I'll watch. I froze. I had no choice but to sit at the conference table opposite her desk and open my laptop. I could feel her gaze on me, sharp as a needle. A cold sweat broke out on my forehead. My fingers felt clumsy on the keyboard. The minutes ticked by, the only sounds in the dead silent office being the clack of my keys and the soft rustle of her turning a page. The atmosphere was suffocating. Finally, I finished the last revision. Trembling, I pushed my laptop across the table toward her. Ms. Hayes, it's done. She glanced at the screen, then looked up at me. Good work. I couldn't believe my ears. The Demon Queen was actually capable of giving a compliment. Did hell just freeze over? I was floored. It's my job. So, Ms. Hayes, can I go now? I started to stand up. She didn't say anything. She just rose slowly from her chair, rounded her desk, and walked right up to me. She was a good head shorter than me, but she had a 6-foot presence. She stood impossibly close. I could smell the faint, cool fragrance she wore. Caleb, you seem to be afraid of me. My back was pressed against the wall. There was nowhere to run. And no, not at all. You're very professional, Ms. Hayes. I have a lot of respect for you. The words felt like ash in my mouth. My heart was hammering against my ribs. Suddenly she smiled. The curve of her lips was beautiful, but her eyes remained cold. Respect. Good. She reached out and gently straightened the collar of my shirt. The gesture was so delicate, yet it made my skin crawl. You're very handsome, especially your eyes. They're so clear. She said it with the same detached tone she'd used to critique a piece of art. I was terrified. What was wrong with her today? Was this some kind of overtime-induced hallucination? I stood frozen, not daring to move a muscle. Thank you, Ms. Hayes. I really should get going. I tried to sidle past her, but she put a hand on the wall, blocking my path. What's the rush? Come have a late dinner with me. It wasn't a question. It was a command. Alarm bells screamed in my head. Oh no, thank you. I already ate, and it's getting really late. She cut me off. I said, have dinner with me. Her voice dropped, her eyes darkening. I had no doubt that if I said no one more time, I'd be fired tomorrow for stepping into the office with my left foot first. I surrendered. Okay, Ms. Hayes. A flicker of satisfaction in her eyes. She lowered her arm. Wait for me downstairs. I just need to grab my purse. It felt like a pardon from the governor. I practically sprinted to the elevator and slammed the button for the ground floor. As the door slid shut, I leaned against the cool metal wall and let out a huge sigh of relief. That was terrifying. She was acting so strangely, asking me to dinner. Was it because I was doing a good job? Maybe she saw potential in me. Before I could figure it out, a line of semi-transparent text floated in front of my eyes. WTF, high-stakes content warning. I froze. What the hell? Am I seeing things? I rubbed my eyes and the text was gone. It must be the exhaustion. I am definitely hallucinating. The elevator reached the lobby. I walked to the main entrance to wait. The late-night air was a little chilly, and I shivered, already plotting how to end this nightmare dinner as quickly as possible. Another line of text appeared. Tutorial mode concluded. Hell mode engaged. God luck, streamer, you're gonna need it. I was completely bewildered. What was happening? I waved my hand in front of my face, but the letters were like a projection on my retina. I couldn't touch them. Another comment popped up. Dude, stop waving. With a live chat system bound to you. You are the main character in a reality show we're all watching. Your boss is the psycho-obsessive heroine. You're so screwed. My jaw dropped. Live chat system, reality show, psycho-obsessive heroine. The sheer volume of information was about to short-circuit my brain. Before I could process any of it, Madeline's voice came from behind me. Been waiting long. I jumped, spinning around. No, I just got down. She had changed into a jacket and was dangling a set of car keys from her finger. My car's over there. She pointed to a black SUV that looked expensive and intimidating, just like her. I followed a few steps behind her as the chat feed came alive again. Here we go. She's got the handcuffs ready. That car is custom built. You can't open the doors from the inside. Streamer, you can still make a run for it. Run where? Lock him in. Throw away the key. My panic grew with every comment. What was this? Madeline pulled open the front passenger door. Get in. I hesitated for a second. The chat scrolled furiously. Don't do it. Once you're in, you're never getting out. Danger, danger, danger. If you run now, you just lose your job. If you get in, you could lose your life. And your virginity. A chill went down my spine, my legs feeling heavy as lead. Madeline looked at me, her eyes narrowing slightly, studying me. My scalp pricked. The primal urge to survive overrode everything else. And nothing. Steeling myself, I got into the passenger seat. The door shut with a solid thud. The click of the automatic lock sounded like a death sentence. My heart sank. It's over. I'm in the killer's car. Madeline walked around to the driver's side, got in, and buckled her seatbelt before starting the engine. The car filled with her signature cool fragrance. It was a nice scent, but right now, it felt suffocating. She turned to look at me. What do you want to eat? I forced a smile that felt more like a grimace. Anything is fine. Whatever you want, Ms. Hayes. The corner of her mouth twitched upwards. Then I'll decide. The SUV pulled smoothly into the night traffic. My palms were sweating. I snuck a glance at the door. Sure enough, there was no handle on the inside. The live chat was telling the truth. My heart pounded in my chest as I tried to keep my expression neutral. The chat was still going wild. LOL, streamers totally freaking out. The heroine's car is specially modified to trap cute guys like you. Is the next stop the legendary basement? She's going to turn left at the next intersection. There's a couple's restaurant there. Bet she already made reservations. I watched the chat, half believing, half skeptical. Then, Madeline hit the left turn signal at the intersection. I screamed internally. They were right again. My mind was reeling. Is this live chat real? Am I really bound to some system? Is Madeline really some kind of psycho-obsessive character? 5 minutes later, the car stopped in front of a restaurant. It was upscale, with intimate, moody lighting. The sign read, Lucille. The chat feed exploded. I knew it. This place is insanely expensive. Who cares about expensive? It's a restaurant for couples. The heroine planned this all along. She booked this table a month ago. This is some next-level obsession. She's been stalking him for a while. Seeing the words couple's restaurant, my knees went weak. Madeline was already out of the car and had opened my door. We're here. I got out stiffly, my eyes locked on the pairs of lovers walking in and out of the restaurant. My throat was dry. Ms. Hayes, this looks like a restaurant for couples, she finished, her expression unchanged. Yes, their beef Wellington is excellent. Is there a problem? She looked at me, her gaze calm, but carrying an invisible weight. I caved instantly. No, of course not. If you say it's good, it must be amazing. She nodded, satisfied. Then she did something that made my whole body go rigid. She reached out and looped her arm through mine. The chat blew up like fireworks. She's holding his arm. Oh no, he's as stiff as a board. She's a pro. So natural, like she's his actual girlfriend. She touched you. She touched you. By the transitive property, you're married now. I was half dragged into the restaurant by Madeline. A host greeted us with a polite smile. Good evening, Ms. Hayes. Your usual table. Madeline gave a slight nod. Yes. The host glanced at me, his eyes full of meaning. Right this way, sir. We were led to a quiet, secluded booth by the window. A single candle flickered on the table, and rose petals were scattered across the white linen. The romantic atmosphere felt sinister. I felt like I was sitting on pins and needles. Madeline perused the menu, ordering with practiced ease. 2 beef Wellingtons, medium rare, a side of the foie gras, and a house salad. And please bring out the bottle of red I have reserved here. The waiter took our order and departed, leaving us alone. The candlelight softened the sharp angles of her face. She really was beautiful. If her personality wasn't so terrifying, she'd probably be the dream girl of every guy at the office. But right now, I was just scared. She suddenly spoke. Caleb, how long have you been with the company? I answered nervously. Almost a year. And how do you like the work? It's good. And your coworkers? They're all great. I felt like a first grader being quizzed by the principal, my answers stiff and mechanical. She swirled the water in her glass. Do you have a girlfriend? I nearly choked on my water. And no, absolutely not. Not really looking right now. Focusing on my career. She nodded. Good. What's good about that? That I don't have a girlfriend? A chill crept up my spine. The chat was already translating for me. She means, good, you're available for me to claim. Translation, good, you're a virgin, you're all mine. Heroine's inner monologue. Good, no obstacles. Ready for conditioning. I could feel sweat trickling down my back. The food arrived quickly. Madeline sliced her steak with elegant, precise movements. Try this. She held a small, perfect piece of steak up to my lips. I froze. The chat went insane. Feeding play. Indirect kiss. Oh, be in your mouth, dude. If you don't, she'll feed it to you mouth to your mouth. That last comment was all the motivation I needed. I immediately opened my mouth and ate the piece of steak. It was delicious, but I could barely taste it. Madeline seemed pleased. Is it good? I nodded furiously. Delicious, yes. You should eat too, Ms. Hayes. She just rested her chin on her hand, watching me. I prefer watching you eat. My face flushed. What kind of line was that? The chat was a waterfall of OMGs. She's so smooth. WHO could resist that. He's blushing. So cute. I wanna. Yo, put some pants on upstairs. The rest of the meal was pure torture. Madeline barely touched her own food. She either fed me bites or just stared at me with an intensity that was unnerving. When it was finally over, I thought the nightmare had ended. But then she dabbed her lips with her napkin and said, Next, we're going to a movie. I stared at her in disbelief. The chat cheered. Yay, a dark enclosed space, perfect for shady business. Dark theater plus emotional plot equals the perfect excuse to hug for comfort. The heroine's plan is flawless. I try to get out of it. Ms. Hayes, we have to work tomorrow, and it's already so late. She just looked at me. I said, we're going to a movie. Do you have a problem with that? No, blood. When a check came, I saw the total and my eyes nearly popped out of my head. 5 figures. That was more than my monthly salary. The chat was marveling at the expense. Wow, the heroine is really willing to invest. It's a down payment. She'll get it all back later with interest. The streamer can just pay her back with his body. I nearly threw up. Outside the restaurant, Madeline bundled me back into the car. This time, I didn't fight it. There was no escape. We drove to a luxury movie theater. Madeline went to pick up the tickets. I glanced at the movie poster. It was a romance. The chat was ecstatic. I must see for couples. Total tear-jerker. Dark theater plus emotional plot equals the perfect excuse to hug for comfort. The heroine's plan is flawless. I felt numb, following her into the theater. Of course, the entire place was empty. Just us. She had booked the whole theater. The movie started. It was a very touching story, but I couldn't focus. All my senses were on high alert, focused on the woman sitting next to me. She, on the other hand, seemed engrossed, her profile flickering in the light from the screen. Suddenly, she asked in a low voice, What do you think love is? I blinked. Mutual affection. She turned her head to look at me, her eyes dark pools of shadow. Mutual possession, from body to soul, completely and totally. Her gaze was a bottomless abyss. I shuddered. The chat scrolled frantically. The Psycho Love Manifesto has arrived. Hiru go. She's unleashing her possessiveness. Streamer, now's your chance to say something dumb and get yourself killed. I swallowed hard. WL, maybe not that completely. Everyone needs a little personal space, right? I regretted the words the moment they left my mouth. Madeline's expression shifted instantly. It became dangerous. She leaned in close, her voice a low murmur. Personal space. You don't need something like that. Her breath tickled my ear. Every hair on my body stood on end. Why not? She let out a soft, chilling laugh. Because you're mine. My brain screeched to a halt. Complete system failure. The chat erupted in celebration. Direct hit. A critical attack. SG went for it. She's making her move. Congratulations, streamer, on unlocking the ownership declared achievement. I sat there paralyzed. Madeline leaned in closer, her body pressing against mine. Caleb, the first day you walked into the office, I noticed you. Your eyes are so clear. I wanted to hide them away, so only I could look at them. Her fingers gently traced the corner of my eye. Her touch was cool and smooth, but it felt like being seared by a hot iron. I trembled. Ms. Hayes, please don't joke like that. I don't handle it well. She pulled her hand back and sat up straight. I'm not joking. You'll understand. Sooner or later. The rest of the movie was agony. She, however, remained perfectly calm, as if she hadn't just uttered the most terrifying words I'd ever heard. The movie ended, and the lights came up. I was desperate to escape, but she grabbed my hand. What's the hurry? It's not over yet. I was on the verge of tears. What else is there? She smiled faintly. I'm taking you home. Just that. I relaxed slightly. Once again, I was in the SUV with the doors that didn't open from the inside. I gave her my address, and she drove off. I was exhausted. My eyelids felt like they had weights on them. It had been a long, insane day. Overtime, being terrorized by my boss, getting bound to a bizarre live chat system, being dragged to a couple's restaurant, having her declare ownership of me. I leaned my head against the window, drifting off. I don't know how long I was out, but the car came to a stop. I groggily opened my eyes. The view outside wasn't my apartment complex. It was an unfamiliar underground parking garage. I was instantly awake. Ms. Hayes, where are we? She unbuckled her seatbelt. My place. I felt my blood run cold. The chat went wild. Here it is the main event. Residential kidnapping. Streamer's V card is in danger tonight. Panic seized me. Why are we at your place? Weren't you taking me home? She turned to face me. This, she said calmly, is your home now. My mind went blank. Ms. Hayes, this isn't right. I really have to go. I fumbled for the door handle that wasn't there. She gently placed her hand on mine. Caleb, don't you get it yet? From now on, you live with me. Her tone was so matter-of-fact. I was about to cry. This is illegal confinement. She laughed, then call the police. See if they'll do anything about it. Her eyes said it all. You can't escape. I slumped back in my seat, defeated. The chat was full of trolls. Just give up, streamer. The heroine's rich and powerful. The cops won't do anything. Might as well lie back and enjoy it. She's hot and has a great body. You're not losing out. Losing out? I'm losing everything. Madeline got out of the car and came around to open my door. Out. I didn't move. She leaned in, her voice a whisper in my ear. Are you going to get out on your own? Or do I have to carry you? I glanced at her slender arms, then at the chat feed. SG can do it. She's trained in martial arts. Saw her judo flip a 6 feet 3 inches guy once. I immediately scrambled out of the car. Better to be smart than sorry. She nodded, satisfied. Good boy. She took my hand and led me toward the elevator. Her hand was cold, and her grip was impossibly strong. There was no breaking free. The elevator went straight to the penthouse. She used her fingerprint to open the door to her apartment. She pulled me inside. The entryway lights turned on automatically, illuminating a massive living room. The decor was modern and minimalist. All blacks, whites, and grays. Cold and sterile, just like her. She closed the door. The sound of the lock clicking into place made my heart jump. She bent down, took a new pair of slippers from the shoe cabinet, and placed them at my feet. Change. I did as I was told, my mind a chaotic mess. What do I do now? Am I really going to be her prisoner? The live chat was providing unhelpful commentary. WOH, a penthouse. Look at that floor-to-ceiling window. That view. Totally worth it. Is the view really the point right now? The point is he's trapped. Those windows are bulletproof and deadbolt. Don't even think about it, streamer. All hope drained out of me. Madeline led me to the living room. Sit. I sat stiffly on the couch. She went and poured me a glass of water. You'll be staying in the guest room. You'll commute with me every day. You'll have all 3 meals with me, and you will not leave my sight. The glass trembled in my hand. Ms. Hayes, this is insane. I'm an adult. I have my own life. She sat down next to me, leaning in close. Your life, she whispered, is me. Her voice was soft, but her words were terrifying. I put the glass down and shot to my feet. I'm sorry, Ms. Hayes. I really have to go home. I made a break for the door. My hand had just touched the doorknob when her voice came from behind me, calm and detached. You can't open it. It's a keypad and fingerprint lock. Only I can open it. I didn't believe her, trying the handle, pushing and pulling for what felt like an eternity. The door didn't budge. I was on the verge of a breakdown. What do you want from me? She walked slowly toward me until she was standing right in front of me. I want to keep you by my side. Forever. Her eyes were filled with a wild, obsessive light. My back was flat against the door. I felt a chill spread through my entire body. Why? There's so many other guys at the office. She reached out and caressed my cheek. Because it's only you who makes me feel something. From the very first moment I saw you. Her fingertips were cold, but they sent a shiver through me. I turned my head away. But I don't feel the same way about you. That seemed to be the wrong thing to say. Her eyes darkened instantly. You will. One day, you'll have eyes only for me. She grabbed my wrist, her grip surprisingly strong. Now, go take a shower. I've prepared pajamas and toiletries for you. She half dragged me into a large bathroom. She handed me a set of pajamas. Even a new pair of boxers was laid out. They were exactly my size. A wave of nausea hit me. How long had she been watching me? The chat was losing its mind. She even knows his underwear size. That's so twisted and hot. Just give in, streamer. He's taking a shower. Are they going to shower together next? I quickly disabled the chat overlay. It was too much. I took the longest shower of my life, changed into the pajamas, and walked out of the bathroom. Madeline was sitting on the couch, now in a silk robe. She looked much softer. She patted the spot next to her. Come here. I hesitated, then walked over and sat down, keeping a safe distance. She didn't seem to like that and scooted closer. Afraid of me? Duh. But I didn't dare say it. She suddenly reached out and pulled me in her arms that I gasped. Let me go. She wrapped her arms around my waist and rested her chin on my shoulder. No, I'm never letting you go. Her breath was warm against my neck. I was rigid with fear. Ms. Hayes, this is really inappropriate. We're colleagues. She chuckled softly. Not for long. What did that mean? Was she going to fire me? Or, I didn't want to think about it. She just held me like that for a long time. So long that I almost fell asleep in her arms. Finally, she let me go. Go to sleep. We have work tomorrow. She walked me to the guest room door. Good night. I felt another wave of relief. I ducked into the room, shut the door, and locked it. Then I slid to the floor, my back against the door, and let out a long breath. Safe. For now. I looked around the room. It was sparsely furnished, but it had everything one would need. She'd even left a phone charger on the nightstand. It was the right one for my phone model. That creeping horror returned. This wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. This was premeditated. I lay in bed, tossing and turning, unable to sleep. Everything that had happened today felt like a fever dream. Kidnapped by my boss. Bound to a live chat system. My life being broadcast to who knows where. Could it get any crazier than this? Wait. The live chat system. I thought to myself, system, are you there? A line of text immediately appeared. WERE here. The streamer is finally talking to us. A sliver of hope. I could actually communicate with it. What is going on? Why am I bound to this thing? And what's the deal with Madeline? The chat answered in a flurry of messages. Weary an entertainment system from a higher civilization. We randomly select lucky people to be in our live shows. The psycho-obsessive boss is part of the show's premise. But her actions are all her. We're just broadcasting it. My world went dark. So Madeline wasn't just playing a part. She was genuinely like this? Can you unbind me? Nope. It's a lifetime contract. Unless. Unless what? Unless you die, or your viewer count drops to 0. But your ratings are through the roof right now. The audience loves this psychodrama stuff. I cover my face with my hands. It was hopeless. My life was over. Can I at least turn off the chat? You can disable it temporarily, but it will be forced on during important plot points. Like when the heroine is having a meltdown, or when it's a romantic moment. I sighed. Turn it off for now. I need some quiet. The text vanished. The world was silent again. But that only made me want to cry more. I slept fitfully, my dreams filled with Madeline's smiling face and her chilling words. You're mine. At 7 in the morning, a knock on the door woke me. It was Madeline. Get up. Time for breakfast. I dragged myself out of bed and opened the door. She was already dressed for work in a crisp white blouse and black pants, her hair tied back in a ponytail. She was back to being the cool, intimidating director. There are new toiletries for you in the bathroom. I silently went and got ready, then sat down at the dining table. Breakfast was bacon, eggs, and a glass of milk. It looked professionally made. Did you make this? She nodded. Try it. I took a bite. It was actually really good. The chat feed forced itself on. Wifey material stat maxed out. She can command a boardroom, cook a gourmet meal, and tie up her husband. Streamer, you hit the jackpot. I nearly choked. Madeline looked at me. Is it not good? I shook my head quickly. No, it's great. She smiled, pleased. I'll make it for you every day from now on. A chill went down my spine. From now on. Every day. When would this end? After breakfast, she grabbed her car keys. Let's go. To the office. I followed her out the door and back into the car that I couldn't escape from. The drive was silent. When we got to the office's underground garage, she parked the car, but didn't unlock the doors. She turned to face me. At the office, you will still call me Ms. Hayes. We are still boss and employee, but you're not to look at other women. You're not to speak to female colleagues about anything other than work. You're not to work overtime. And you will come home with me, on time, every day. With every rule, the color drained from my face. This was worse than prison. And if I break a rule. Her eyes darkened. You don't want to know. She leaned in and pressed a light, fleeting kiss to my lips. It was over before I could process it, a touch of cool softness. I froze, stunned. A good morning kiss, she said with a small smile. She unlocked the doors. Let's go. I followed her upstairs in a daze. The moment we walked into the office, all eyes were on us. Arriving together was suspicious. Madeline was unfazed. I ran into Caleb in the parking garage. We just came up together. The explanation seemed to satisfy everyone. Only I knew the truth. I scurried to my desk, my mind in a total fog. All day, I could feel Madeline's eyes on me. It was a constant, heavy presence. I didn't even dare ask the woman at the next desk to borrow a pen. The chat popped up occasionally to mock me. Streamer is such a coward. The heroine's death glare is lethal. Office romance, so thrilling. I finally made it to the end of the day. Just as I was about to pack up, my desk phone rang. It was Madeline. Come to my office. I walked over, resigned to my fate. Yes, Ms. Hayes. She was packing her briefcase. Give me 5 minutes. We're leaving together. I stood there, feeling awkward and exposed as several colleagues shot curious glances our way. Finally, she was ready. Let's go. I followed her to the elevator, and we returned to my luxurious prison. This became our routine for the next several days. I was numb to it. We commuted together, I ate the food she cooked, and I slept in her guest room. Aside from the complete lack of freedom, my quality of life had actually improved. But the chat kept reminding me that this was just the calm before the storm. It was Friday, and Madeline seemed to be in a particularly good mood. She was even humming on the drive home. It was unsettling. Is today a special day or something? I asked. She glanced at me. I'll tell you when we get home. My heart started to pound again. When we got back to the apartment, she told me to go take a shower. I did as I was told, my stomach churning with anxiety. When I came out, the living room lights were off. The dining table was set with candles, steak, and red wine. She was wearing a black slip dress, her hair down. She looked like a completely different person. Seat. I sat down stiffly. Ms. Hayes, what is this? She poured 2 glasses of wine and handed one to me. A celebration of your first full week living here. And a celebration of... She paused. Our 1-week anniversary. I almost spit out my wine. Anniversary? When did we start dating? She frowned slightly. The day you moved in with me. That was the beginning. Do you have a problem with that? I looked into her eyes and swallowed my objections. And no problem. She smiled, satisfied. Cheers. I raised my glass mechanically. I ate the meal, but I tasted nothing. She drank quite a bit of wine, a flush creeping up her cheeks, her eyes hazy. She looked softer, more alluring than usual. She got up and sat next to me, leaning her head on my shoulder. Caleb, do you like me? My body went rigid. I didn't know how to answer. She lifted her head and cupped my face in her hands. Do you like me? She repeated, her gaze intense, colored by the wine. I swallowed hard. I do. She smiled. I like you too, so much. She leaned in and kissed me. The kiss tasted of red wine. It was deeper and more demanding than the good morning kiss. My mind went blank. I was a passive recipient of her affection. When she finally pulled away, she whispered, tonight, sleep in my room. I snapped back to reality. I can't. Her eyes turned cold. Why not? We're a couple. It's normal. Thinking fast, I stammered, I am not ready yet. Please, just give me some time. She stared at me for a long moment. I was sure she was about to explode. But in the end, she just nodded. Fine. I'll give you time, but don't make me wait too long. She stood up a bit unsteady on her feet. I instinctively reached out to steady her. She leaned against me and whispered, carry me to my room. I had no choice but to lift her into my arms and carry her to the master bedroom. She was so light, she felt fragile in my arms. I placed her on the bed and tried to leave, but she grabbed my hand. Stay with me, just until I fall asleep. I sat on the edge of the bed. She closed her eyes and was asleep within minutes, her breathing even and peaceful. She looked so harmless. I gently slipped my hand out of hers, pulled the covers over her, turned off the light, and quietly left the room. Back in my own room, I let out a huge sigh. That was too close. The chat feed reappeared. Streamer, you missed the opportunity of a lifetime. What a perfect chance. The heroine was basically begging for it. I roll my eyes. You guys can go if you want. I'd rather not lose my body and soul. The chat continued to lament my cowardice. I ignored them and lay in bed, staring at the ceiling. This whole experience felt like a dream. Imprisoned by my psycho boss. Bound to a live chat system. My life on display. It was insane, but I was slowly getting used to it. I even found myself thinking that Madeline was kind of cute sometimes. The thought shocked me. Get a grip, Caleb. I told myself. Is this Stockholm Syndrome? The next day was Saturday. I woke up on my own time. When I walked out of my room, Madeline was already up and in the kitchen, cooking breakfast. She was wearing sweats and an apron. She looked warm and domestic. Morning, she said, turning to smile at me. Morning, I replied. Breakfast is almost ready. I felt a little disoriented. This scene was too peaceful. It didn't feel like a kidnapping. It felt like the daily life of a newly married couple. We ate breakfast in silence. Suddenly, she said, I want you to go somewhere with me today. My stomach clenched. Where? The amusement park. I was speechless. The chat went wild. The amusement park, the holy grail of psycho love dates. The legend of kissing at the top of the Ferris wheel. Holding hands tightly on the roller coaster. Taking cute couple photos on the carousel. My eye twitched. Madeline at an amusement park. It was completely out of character, but I didn't dare refuse. Okay. After breakfast, she told me to change and even picked out my outfit. Wear the white hoodie. It'll match mine. We'll look like a couple. I sighed. Of course, this was all planned. The amusement park was crowded, mostly with couples. Madeline naturally took my hand. It's crowded. Don't get lost. Her hand was warm, not cold like it usually was. I felt awkward, but didn't pull away. She took me to the carousel first and even bought us matching headbands with cat ears. When she put mine on, her eyes were soft. So cute. My face flushed. The chat was busy taking screenshots. OMG, this is so sweet. The heroine is such a pro at this. The streamer is blushing. After the carousel, she dragged me to a roller coaster. I'm not a fan of thrill rides, but she was excited. If you're scared, just hold my hand. And of course, when the coaster plunged from its highest point, I gripped her hand for dear life. She squeezed back, a smile on her face. When we got off, my legs were like jelly, but she was energized. Next, the haunted house. I groaned. Inside, it was pitch black, with actors jumping out to scare us. I was terrified and hid behind Madeline. She wrapped an arm around me. Don't be scared. I'm here. Her embrace was warm and smelled faintly of her perfume. I actually felt a little safe. The chat was in a frenzy. The roles are reversed. The heroine has maxed out her boyfriend stats. The streamer is a damsel in distress. By the time we got out of the haunted house, I was practically clinging to her. She patted my head, amused. You're such a scaredy cat. How are you going to protect me in the future? I mumbled, you're the one who seems to need less protecting. She raised an eyebrow. What was that? I shook my head quickly. Nothing. Our last ride was the Ferris wheel. It was sunset, and the sky was painted in shades of orange and pink. As our car climbed higher, the entire park spread out below us. It was beautiful. Madeline looked out the window and said softly, they say that couples who kiss at the very top of the Ferris wheel will stay together forever. My heart skipped a beat. She turned to look at me, her eyes soft and serious. Caleb, do you want to be with me forever? I stared at her profile, golden in the evening light, and was at a loss for words. The car was nearing the top. She leaned in slowly and closed her eyes. Her long eyelashes trembled slightly. She looked nervous. For some reason, I didn't pull away. But just as her lips were about to touch mine, the chat feed exploded. Warning! Warning! Heroine's corruption meter rising. Dangerous thoughts detected. She's planning to lock you up in the house forever. I snapped back to my senses and pushed her away. I am sorry. The atmosphere in the car instantly dropped to freezing. Madeline opened her eyes. They were glacial and terrifying. You're rejecting me. A chill ran down my back. I am just not ready yet. She stared at me for a long time, then suddenly smiled. That's fine. I can wait. But her eyes clearly said, you can't escape. After we got off the Ferris wheel, the mood was tense. She didn't hold my hand anymore, didn't speak. She just walked silently ahead. I followed behind her, my stomach in knots. The drive home was silent, her face a thundercloud. I didn't dare say a word. When we got back, she went straight into her bedroom and slammed the door. I was left standing in the living room, unsure what to do. The chat was scolding me. Streamer, you're going to die alone. That was the perfect chance. Yuri done for now. The heroine is definitely going to go full psycho. I ran a hand through my hair in frustration. Shut up. I paced the living room, terrified of what Madeline might be doing in her room. Was she plotting my murder? Or coming up with some new, more horrifying way to keep me captive? An hour later, her bedroom door opened. Madeline came out, changed in her loungewear. She looked much calmer. She walked up to me. I'm going to make dinner. What do you want to eat? I stared at her, stunned. Anything. She nodded and went into the kitchen as if nothing had happened. But I knew this was just the calm before an even bigger storm. After dinner, I offered to do the dishes, hoping to make up for earlier. She leaned against the kitchen doorway, watching me. Did you have fun today? My hand slipped, and I almost dropped the plate. Why, yes. It was fun, except for the end. She walked over and hugged me from behind, resting her chin on my shoulder. I'm sorry. I scared you today. I froze. She was apologizing. It's okay. She sighed softly. I just like you so much. I'm so afraid you'll leave me. Her voice sounded fragile. My heart softened. I won't leave, I said, and immediately regretted it. I was just digging my own grave. But her voice brightened. Really? You promise? I steeled myself. I promise. She turned me around to face her, looking seriously into my eyes. Then it's a deal. You'll never leave me. Or else. She didn't finish, but the obsessive look in her eyes was terrifying enough. I could only nod. She smiled and pressed a kiss to my forehead. Good night, my Caleb. After that day, Madeline seemed to calm down. She was less possessive, less extreme. She even gave me a little freedom, like letting me go down to the corner store by myself. But I knew it was just an act. The chat told me she was secretly monitoring my every move. My phone was bugged with a GPS tracker. There were hidden cameras in the apartment, and she even had people watching me at work. I was never out of her control, but I pretended not to know. I played along. Life seemed to fall into a peaceful routine, until a new hire started at the office. She was a cute, bubbly girl who sat in the cubicle next to mine and often came over to ask me questions about work. Madeline's mood grew darker by the day. The chat was in a constant state of high alert. Danger. The heroine's jealousy is overflowing. Are you in? Streamer, run. She's got a knife in her desk drawer now. I was terrified and did my best to avoid the new girl. But some work-related interactions were unavoidable. One afternoon, she came over to ask about a design issue. After we finished discussing it, she suddenly asked, "Caleb, are you free this weekend? I was wondering if you'd like to see a movie." I jumped. "Oh, I'm sorry, I can't." Before I could finish, I felt a cold, sharp gaze on me. Madeline was standing a few feet away, her face a blank mask, watching us. A cold sweat soaked through my shirt. The new girl didn't notice. "What about next week? Or whenever you're free?" I cut her off. "I'm never free. I'm sorry, I have to get back to work." I practically fled back to my desk, not daring to look in Madeline's direction. After work, Madeline drove home in complete silence. The tension in the car was suffocating. The moment we walked through the door, she pinned me against the wall. "She asked you to a movie?" I rushed to explain. I said no. I swear, I turned her down. She stared at me for a long time, then suddenly smiled. "I know, you did a good job." She let me go and went to cook dinner as if nothing had happened. But I was more scared than ever. This calm was unnatural. Sure enough, the next day, the new girl wasn't at work. I heard she had been transferred to a branch office in another state. The chat told me it was Madeline's doing. A chill went down my spine. Her need for control was even more terrifying than I had imagined. That evening, Madeline was in a great mood. She cooked a feast and even opened a bottle of wine. "Let's celebrate," she said. I asked cautiously, "Celebrate what?" She smiled at me. The removal of an obstacle. My hand trembled, and I dropped my chopsticks. She bent down to pick them up, then went to the kitchen to get me a new pair. "Be careful," she said gently. I felt a wave of nausea. I barely ate a bite. After dinner, she had me watch a movie with her on the couch. It was a romance. During a kissing scene, she suddenly turned to me. "Caleb, kiss me." I froze. "All right now." She nodded, her eyes full of a mixture of anticipation and obsession. I hesitated, then slowly leaned in and gave her a chaste peck on the lips. It wasn't enough for her. Not like that. She cupped the back of my head and deepened the kiss, only letting me go when I was breathless. "That's how you kiss," she said, licking her lips like a satisfied cat. My face was burning, my heart pounding. I didn't know if it was from fear or something else. The chat was in a frenzy. "I am dead from the sweetness. The heroine is so dominant. Just given already, streamer." And I did. Half willingly, half coerced, I started this strange relationship with her. We commuted together, ate together, kissed occasionally. We were like a normal couple, but we were nothing like a normal couple. I had no freedom, no privacy. I was under her constant surveillance. But strangely, I was getting used to it. I even started to enjoy her care and her possessiveness. The chat said it was Stockholm Syndrome. I thought so too, but it didn't matter. There was no escape. Might as well enjoy it. A few months passed like this. An opportunity came up at work for an overseas business trip. As a director, Madeline had to go. She didn't want to take me because the schedule was tight and she wouldn't be able to watch me. But she also didn't want to leave me out of her sight. After a lot of deliberation, she decided to take me with her. "Remember," she said, "stay by my side at all times. No wandering off." I nodded vigorously. Of course. But secretly, I was a little excited. After being imprisoned for so long, I was finally getting out, even if it was with her. The trip was to Paris, the city of love. Madeline seemed excited too. We could take a couple of extra days to see the sights. She handed me a travel guide with several romantic spots for couples circled. I sighed. The chat. "It's a honeymoon." The long flight was exhausting, but Madeline took care of me the entire time, covering me with a blanket, feeding me snacks. Like I was a child, the flight attendants gave us curious looks. When we landed, a car was waiting to take us directly to our hotel. Madeline had booked a suite, with only one bedroom. I froze. "Where am I sleeping?" She looked at me as if it were the most obvious thing in the world. "With me, of course. Where else would you sleep?" I looked at the massive king-sized bed and swallowed hard. "The couch. But we could get another room." Her eyes turned cold. "You don't want to sleep with me?" I shook my head quickly. "No, it's just." "No, just," she said, pulling me into an embrace. "We're a couple. It's normal for us to sleep together." She paused, then added, "Don't worry. Until you're completely ready, I won't do anything." I relaxed slightly, but I was still nervous. Sharing a bed. It was too much, but I didn't dare protest. I just went and took a shower. When I came out, Madeline had changed into a silk slip for bed. It made her skin look like porcelain. I quickly looked away. "I am going to bed." I tried to lie down on the couch, but she grabbed my arm. In the bed. I got into bed stiffly, keeping as much distance between us as possible. She turned off the light and then wrapped her arms around me from behind. "Good night." Her body was soft and fragrant. I was rigid, not daring to move. Only after I heard her steady breathing did I finally relax. Surprisingly, I slept well. The next day was the conference. In her element, Madeline was a force of nature. Her fluent French and professional insights were captivating. I found myself staring at her, unable to look away. The chat was full of praise. The heroine is a badass. A woman at work is the most attractive. The streamer is totally mesmerized. After the conference, we had 2 free days. Madeline dragged me all over Paris, to the Eiffel Tower, the Louvre, the banks of the Seine. We took pictures like any other couple. We even put a love lock on a bridge. She wrote, "Madeline and Caleb, together forever." Then she threw the key into the Seine. "Now you can never escape," she said with a smile, but her eyes were serious. I looked at her face, glowing in the sunset, and suddenly thought that being together forever didn't sound so bad. That night, we had a candlelit dinner. She had some wine, and her eyes were hazy. "Caleb, do you like Paris?" I nodded. "I love it." She smiled. "Then we'll come back often. Just the 2 of us." I looked at her smiling face, and on impulse nodded. "Okay." Back at the hotel, she seemed exceptionally happy. She hummed as she showered and came out wearing that same sexy nightgown. "Do I look good?" she asked, twirling around. My face flushed. "Why, yes, beautiful." She came over and sat on my lap, wrapping her arms around my neck. "Then do you want to take the next step?" My brain shut down. The next step. She leaned in and whispered in my ear, "Make love." My jaw dropped. The chat feed exploded. "IT's finally happening. HANG in there, streamer. Be a man. Go for it." My face was on fire. This is too fast." She tilted her head. "We've been dating for a long time. And besides," she nibbled my earlobe, "you're clearly interested." I was mortified to find that she was right. She chuckled, then pushed me back onto the bed and leaned over me, kissing me more passionately than ever before. I was lost in the moment, about to give in completely. And then my phone rang. It was my phone. Madeline paused, frowning. "Ignore it." But the phone kept ringing. The caller ID said Mom. I sobered up instantly. "It's my mom. It might be an emergency." Madeline reluctantly sat up. I quickly answered the phone. "Hello, Mom." My mom's panicked voice came through the phone. "Caleb, your father's in the hospital. He had a heart attack. You need to come home." My mind went blank. Is it serious? Which hospital? "He just got out of surgery. He's in the ICU. Please, just come home." My mom started to cry. I tried to comfort her. "Mom, don't worry. I'll book a flight right now." When I hung up, I was pale. Madeline looked at me. "What's wrong?" "My dad had a heart attack. He's in the hospital. I have to go back to the States immediately." She was silent for a few seconds, then nodded. "I'll book your ticket. The soonest flight." I was stunned. I didn't expect her to be so understanding. You're not coming with me?" She stroked my hair. "The conference isn't over. I have to stay. You go ahead. Call me if you need anything." I was so moved I almost cried. She was letting me go back alone? "Thank you." She smiled faintly. "Go. Pack your bags. I'll take you to the airport." On the way to the airport, I was anxious to get home, but also couldn't believe it. She was really letting me go. Even when I was on the plane, it didn't feel real. The chat was also confused. Did the heroine have a personality change? She's just letting him go. Impossible. This has to be a trap. I thought so too. But my worry for my father overshadowed everything. After a 10-hour flight, I was back in the U.S. and went straight to the hospital. My dad was out of danger and had been moved to a regular room. I was relieved. I stayed with my parents for a few days. During that time, Madeline called every day to ask about my dad. She sounded so normal. I started to wonder if the psycho-obsessive woman had been a figment of my imagination. A week later, My dad was discharged. It was time for me to go back to work. But I hesitated. Did I really want to go back? This was my chance to escape. I could quit my job, move to a different city, start over. Get away from her. Once the thought entered my mind, I couldn't shake it. I left my mom some money, told her I had to go back to work early, and then bought a plane ticket to a city on the other side of the country. I turned off my phone, cut off all contact. I disappeared. On the plane, my heart was pounding. It was a mixture of excitement and a strange guilt. How would she react when she found out I had run away? Would she be angry or hurt? I shook my head and pushed her out of my mind. New city, new life. I found a new job, rented an apartment, and lived a quiet, normal life. But I always felt like something was missing. Every evening, when I came home to my empty apartment, I would think of the meals she cooked and the warmth of her embrace. The chat would occasionally pop up. The heroine is looking for you. She's going insane. You should go back and see her. I ignored it until one evening, I came home from work and found someone standing in front of my door. A familiar figure that made me freeze on the spot. Madeline. She was much thinner, her face pale, but her eyes were terrifyingly bright. I found you, she said, her voice hoarse, on the verge of tears. My first instinct was to run, but she grabbed me and held on tight. Don't run away again. Please. She was trembling in my arms like a wounded animal. My heart softened. How did you find me? She looked up, her eyes full of tears. I told you. You can't escape. No matter where you go, I will always find you. She took out her phone and showed me a picture. It was a security camera image of me outside my new office. A chill went down my spine. How'd you do that? She gave a tearful smile. You can't even imagine the resources I used to find you. She gently caressed my face. Come home with me, please. Looking at her, so fragile and broken, I suddenly understood. I could never escape, and I didn't want it anymore. Okay, I heard myself say. I'll come back with you. Her eyes lit up. Really? You won't run away again? I nodded. I won't run away again. She threw herself into my arms and cried like a child. I'm sorry. I won't lock you up anymore. I'll give you your freedom. Just don't leave me. I held her tight. Okay, I won't leave. We went back to our old life, but something was different. She no longer restricted my freedom, no longer monitored me. She gave me space and trust. She even allowed me to talk to female colleagues, though she still got jealous sometimes. But she never did anything extreme again. We were like a normal couple. We went on dates, saw movies, went shopping, cooked together. We had small arguments, but we always made up quickly. The chat said the heroine had been healed. I thought so too. She was just insecure and needed a lot of love, and I was willing to give it to her. One day, I came home from work to find the apartment dark. I was wondering where she was when the light suddenly came on. Madeline was standing in the middle of the living room in a beautiful dress, smiling. Welcome home. The table was set with a candlelit dinner and a cake. I was confused. What's the occasion? She walked over and hugged me. It's our anniversary. The first anniversary of when we found each other again. I had forgotten. A year ago today, she had found me and brought me home. Time flies. We had dinner, drank some wine, and then she pulled me out onto the balcony to look at the moon. The night was beautiful. She leaned her head on my shoulder and said softly, Caleb, thank you for not leaving me. I stroked her hair. I'll never leave. She looked up at me, her eyes shining. Then, will you marry me? I was stunned. And marry you. She nodded and took a small box out her pocket. Inside were 2 rings. Will you? She asked, her eyes full of hope and nervousness. I looked at her and thought about everything we had been through. From fear, to escape, to acceptance and love. It had been an insane journey, but I didn't regret it. I smiled. I took the man's ring and put on my finger. Then I took the woman's ring and slid it onto hers. I will. Her eyes welled up with tears. She threw herself into my arms. You promised. Forever. I held her tight. Yes. Forever. Under the moonlight, we kissed. The live chat scrolled one last time across my vision. Congratulations, streamer, on successfully conquering the psycho-obsessive heroine. The Yandere.